This is Fred Ricciani of TSC News, here with Scott Anderson to recap the WWE Night of Champions 2015 pay-per-view, September 20th, 2015. We are here to recap the pay-per-view from top to bottom, and we are here to take your questions and complaints and compliments live on the air. If you've been here before, you know the deal. Please feel free to like this podcast, share with all your friends. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you're brand new here, hopefully you will stick around. Scott, we just witnessed a pretty eventful Night of Champions pay-per-view with a pretty interesting ending. However, based on our brief conversation off air, it sounds like you are not going to stick around. Why is that?
I'm like Stewie Griffin after he had his first soda. Hee! Oh, now I'm just sad. That's the only way to put it. I was all excited. I was waiting to see Sting win the title, and he lost. Okay, it sucks, but it was clean. And then the end, I guess we knew it was coming. We knew Sheamus was coming out. Kane, okay, whatever, I guess. I mean, you know, we got to see Sting in a main event and Kane come out in a main event, so I guess somehow I went back in time and it's 1998, so that's cool. Yeah, that's, you know, I mean, it is what it is. I guess it doesn't matter. I tweeted out a couple minutes ago before we went live that it really doesn't matter Kane versus Seth Rollins, because in reality, Hell in a Cell is all about Taker Lesnar. So
yeah, and there you go. We already have
spoiler.
Not really. We already have a main event for Hell in a Cell on October 25th. It is Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker. Not at WrestleMania, not at Survivor Series, not at Royal Rumble. At Hell in a Cell. What a bizarre move. I mean, and to me, like, look, there was a part of me at one point before SummerSlam where I was like, I definitely don't want to see Brock Lesnar versus Undertaker again, no matter what pay-per-view it is. Then those guys, besides the ending, had a spectacular match, and I said, I would love to see this at WrestleMania. Because creatively speaking, who's the better opponent for Brock Lesnar WrestleMania time right now? I mean, presently, right now, who's hot enough to take on Brock Lesnar and have an epic feud with him leading up to an epic match at WrestleMania? I mean, we've already seen the John Cena deal a bunch of times. I do not want to see another match with Triple H. Daniel Bryan, who the hell knows what's going to happen with his career. Randy Orton, well, it would be cool to see a Randy Orton Brock Lesnar match. It's not exactly, must-see TV to a lot of people. So, I mean, who else is there? I mean, Seth Rollins, we already saw a Brock Lesnar-Seth Rollins match, and Rollins practically got killed. Roman Reigns versus Brock would be cool, but it depends on what they'd want to do. I don't know.
I have one, but I don't know how they would do it, and it would be Bray Wyatt. That's all I can come up with. If
it was Bray Wyatt a year and a half ago, I'd say yeah. Or Bray Wyatt a couple years ago, yeah. Now, ugh. I mean, want to see Bray.
Are you going to see Brock Lesnar versus Samoa Joe? I mean, really? Who is there? No offense to Samoa Joe. I like the guy. I want to see him, on the main roster and see him at Mania.
You know what? You could do a Brock versus a babyface Brock versus a heel Roman Reigns.
To be honest, and we'll get to it. Well, we'll get to that in a few minutes. I thought that was going to happen tonight, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, Undertaker and Brock Lesnar on a B pay-per-view Hell in a Cell.
Oh, Sting was on a B pay-per-view.
Sort of, yeah, but Night of Champions has become a pretty big event for him in recent years. With all the titles on the line, sort of.
Yeah,
kind of,
Hell in a Cell's decent, though. But yeah, there's still... I guess technically there are no real B pay-per-views. It's SummerSlam, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Rumble, and then everything else.
Yeah.
Even Survivor Series. So I guess in a way it is what it is anymore. I guess we look at it like, it's in your house, to date myself.
Yeah, I agree.
But really, at this point they're all pay-per-views.
And by the way, for anybody that's watching us on YouTube right now, we got the Houston skyline in the background. So if you can't be in Houston for Night of Champions and the aftermath, we brought a little bit of Houston to you. So there you go for those that were wondering. But let's recap this show, shall we? Because
real quick, Manpreet in the comments says Brock Lesnar versus Kevin Owens. Possible.
That would be kick ass. I just don't have any faith that they're going to do that. But you never know. Look, there's a one side of WWE backstage that seems to want Kevin Owens to be a big star, and he's already getting there. And then there's the other side that's kind of wanting to hold him back because of the way he looks. But from what I understand, according to Dave Meltzer, the house shows with Owens and Cena have actually drawn pretty well. So for people saying Kevin Owens can't draw, well, I think
got a good reaction tonight.
Yeah, he certainly did. He could be the next badass babyface if you really think about it, kind of like his ROH character. You know?
Well, we'll get to the match, and then I'll go into a little detail about the badass babyface character, because he kind of did that a little bit tonight.
Mm-hmm. We had Neville and the Lucha Dragons in the pre-show against the Ascension and Stardust. I did not watch this match. I was doing something else. I don't really remember what I was doing, but it was something better than Lucha Dragons and Neville versus Ascension
and
Stardust.
You were washing your hair, right? Quote unquote.
Actually, I think I might have been in the shower. Maybe I was. I don't know. Around that time, I was in the shower. But yeah, I didn't miss anything in this match. Neither did you. Stardust pinned Neville, which is just preposterous. Neville deserves better than this. He's an excellent talent. Excellent talent.
Rumor with Neville is he's not going to do the Red Arrow anymore as a finisher.
Why?
The rumor is he's doing the 450 splash, which he did do tonight, but they said he's been doing it at some house shows, and looks like they just might not let him do it. You know why? I'll tell you why. Because it's such a badass move, they can't let a guy like Neville do it, unfortunately. Maybe John Cena's working on it or something. I don't know.
I don't know. Or maybe they're saving it for like big matches. Like Seth Rollins and the Phoenix Splash, he never hits.
You mean like when Wade Barrett comes back, it'll be him and Neville? Yeah, all right, cool.
Oh, God. We had Ryback and Kevin Owens. Excuse me, I'm like recovering from like a bad cold. And I had like a bad sinus infection that gave me vertigo earlier this week. So if I'm a little rusty, folks, I apologize. We had Ryback versus Kevin Owens for the IC title. I also missed a little bit of this match because my Xbox One WWE app was acting funky. Just like it was acting funky on the Xbox 360. Just like it was acting funky on the PS4. And it's funny how this happens with the WWE Network app, yet this doesn't happen with HBO Go, particularly when I'm streaming Game of Thrones and other shows in real time. This doesn't happen with Netflix. This doesn't happen with YouTube. It doesn't happen with Twitch. It doesn't happen with any Xbox Live events or the PlayStation Live events viewer. It barely happens when I order UFC pay-per-views. It barely happens during UFC.tv. But for whatever reason, it happens almost all the time during pay-per-views with the WWE Network.
Does it happen if you ever watch MLB, the MLB app?
I don't care enough about baseball to watch the MLB app.
Well, you mentioned like 50 other things. I figured, what the hell? Yeah, it happened to me a couple times, but later on in the pay-per-view.
Yeah, just lame. So anyway, I managed to see the finish. I heard it was a decent match, not a great match. Kevin Owens had been up for the, what do you call it, the shell shock, and he raked Ryback's eyes, rolled him up for the 1-2-3, and Kevin Owens is your new Intercontinental Champion. They showed highlights in this match, seemed pretty good. Some people told me it was just subpar. If that's the case, I'd rather have had Kevin Owens just pin Ryback clean. But you know what? For a guy that's a pretty badass old school heel who may down the road be a pretty badass old school babyface, you know what? I'd say it's a pretty clever finish.
Well, here's the thing about that. Owens had that. I don't know if you want to call it a surprised look on his face or what, but it was almost a face reaction. Mm-hmm. It was almost that John Cena surprise I won type of reaction, which isn't your standard heel. Now, of course, when Ryback came out, it was either boos or feed me more. It sounded like a lot more boos. And when Owens came out, of course, he got the pop. So, Owens kind of already is he's being a face without, being a face. And I think it's only a matter of time. I mean, people love him. They know who he is. So we all know, the suits in the back might not like that. But I don't think, with Kevin Owens, I think WWE, they don't have much of a choice. Daniel Bryan, they tried to hold back. But I don't see it happening with Kevin Owens.
Well, they successfully held back Cesaro because apparently he lost clean to the Big Show.
Yeah, I'm trying to forget about that. Thank you very much.
Jesus Christmas.
He hasn't won he won one TV match in like the last 2 months. You realize that?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Well,
he's been in
no.
Good matches,
he's won tag matches, but he hasn't really won any singles matches except for like one against The Miz, I think.
No, I think it was Rusev, wasn't it?
Actually, yeah, he beat Rusev. I don't even think it is. Oh man, that's just rough. And oh yeah, Kevin Owens, your new Intercontinental Champion. Now a part of the great list of past Canadians to win the Intercontinental Championship. You're talking about Chris Jericho, Bret the Hitman Hart, Owen Hart, Edge, and now Kevin Owens. Oh, Christian as well. Let's give Christian some love. One of the criminally underrated wrestlers of his generation.
What about the first ever IC champion, Pat Patterson?
Oh, Pat Patterson. That's right.
Man.
That's right. Who won it in a shady tournament in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And now...
Still won it.
Yeah, still won it. And now, Kevin Owens. Congrats to him. I heard they actually had a pretty nice crowd for what was, I believe, Kevin Owens' Appreciation Night in Montreal a few days ago.
Yeah, it was decent from what I hear, too.
Yeah, good for him. So, look, it's not that WWE's burying him. You know, some people were accusing me of saying, like, Kevin Owens is done. I didn't think he was done when he lost to John Cena a couple months back. But the guy beat John Cena in his first official main roster match. You could have gotten so much mileage out of that win, and instead, he only got 2 weeks out of it. And while he's in a good spot right now, and he's making money, and the fans seem to like him, he could have been even, and he still can be big, but he could have been even bigger right now if he kept him undefeated. Instead of having him lose random match after random match, and this, that, and the other thing. I don't know. Sometimes it feels like they get a guy up there, and then they want to humble him a little bit, and then they want to bring him back up. And it's not like he's Dolph Ziggler, where he went from being really pushed to absolutely buried. He just kind of, he was lost in the shuffle for a couple months.
Well, is it okay to have a guy like Kevin Owens be that top tier mid card guy? He doesn't have to be the main event guy, but why can't he be the guy to carry the mid card? Why not go old
but
school?
The problem is that there's almost no upper mid card anymore. It's just like it's like main eventers and geeks, and he's one of those guys that one of the few guys that's, I guess, technically an upper mid carder, where he's kind of like risen above that. But it's the era of the mid carder, unfortunately, in a lot of ways. That's the problem. Like, there's a lot of guys that are mid carders, upper mid card. There's very few guys that are main eventers that are drawing ratings for or selling tickets for the company. And Kevin Owens on house shows seems to be doing well with ticket sales and merchandise. But ratings wise, I mean, he could have been even bigger. He could have been a guy. I don't want to say at the level of a Brock Lesnar. Because Brock Lesnar is a different animal. But he in theory. Had they kept protecting Kevin Owens from the time he beat John Cena at Elimination Chamber, maybe he'd be in the title picture right now, the world title picture. Maybe fans would have been able to buy him as world champion. Actually, I think at this point fans might even be able to buy him as world champion given the booking of Seth Rollins. But, that's another story. We had Dolph Ziggler, speaking of former world champions, and a forgotten one at that.
Upper mid-carder, yada, yada, yeah.
Yeah. He took on Rusev. A lot of people seem to like this feud. I'm not a big fan of it at all.
No, it's bad.
And now that Lana broke her wrist and is out for 4 months, that means we're apparently getting 4 more months out of this crap. Ugh. It was a good match.
Rusev has become a geek, by the way.
Yeah.
Just want to get that out there. Not that I would tell him to his face.
The guy entered the ring at WrestleMania in a tank. And in a span of, 4 or 5 months, he's just been, I don't want to say buried.
He lost to Cena, he got buried. That's what happens.
I don't know if buried's in the right word. He's just,
pushed
he's become
back.
a geek. He's become a doofus.
Well, he had the spot in the match where, he thought he won, and he's celebrating. He goes over to the referee, raises his hand up like, come on, dude, you're better than that,
Oh, yeah.
And then,
So yeah, he thought he won. He didn't. Ziggler hit him with the super kick. Or was no? Actually, no.
He did hit him with a couple super kicks, so you're not
near fall.
there.
And then what happened was Summer Rae got on the apron. She was thrown out of the ring, and the ref said, "Get to the back." She took off one shoe. She took off the other shoe. She threw it at Rusev by accident, but it was not a disqualification.
So bad.
I don't know how that's not a disqualification. And Ziggler then hit the zigzag and covered Rusev 1, 2, 3. And a guy who was arguably the best heel in the company besides Brock Lesnar earlier this year. Well, I guess Brock Lesnar was technically sort of a babyface most of this year, but you know what I mean. Before Brock's
a constant guy.
Yeah. He was maybe the best full-time heel. Yeah, and now he's just the guy. Just got pinned by Ziggler. That's it. I mean, he already got pinned by Cesaro. Remember that big deal a little over a month ago? Oh my God, Cesaro's the first person to beat Rusev besides John Cena. And then Rusev loses, and loses, and loses, and loses. And if you watch this guy on Xavier Woods' video game channel, he seems like a pretty cool guy. He's well spoken. You see, he just seems like a cool ass dude.
Yeah,
and he's proven he could be an awesome heel. And now he's just stuck in this stupid love. I was gonna say triangle. It's like a love square. It's a love square. I don't know. It's like I don't know.
Put it this way. Put it this way, Fred. He might be losing in the ring, but outside the ring, he is winning.
Absolutely,
okay?
Because at the end of the day, he still goes home to Lana, and he gets to nurse her back to health. And that, my friends, is a good brother.
Yeah.
We had the New Day take on the Dudley Boys for tag titles. Scott loved this match so much, he dropped his pen in the background. Yep.
That wasn't me. That was you, brother.
That was you.
That was you. I think you dropped the table. I'm clapping along.
Oh, you clapped. Okay. Oh yeah, New Day rocks. That's right. They came out. They cut a promo about, and my voice is cracked. I know.
Oh God.
Came out. What did they cut a promo about? The tables. The table petition.
Yeah. Apparently, Barack Obama has agreed to sign the petition. They had Jake from State Farm sign the petition. They had just everybody signed the petition.
This match was decent. I wouldn't say it was great. Xavier Woods was awesome at ringside. He dyed his hair red a little bit, red tips, as did Kofi Kingston. DQ. Dudley's won via DQ. The New Day got the tables. They were thwarted by the Dudleys. 3D. I didn't mind this too much, although I would have liked to have seen this match go shorter if it was going to end this way. That's my only deal. Or you could have just had the Dudleys get pinned.
Well, they're going to have a rematch on Raw tomorrow, so don't worry about it. I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
Xavier Woods was pretty good in the match with the trombone. He did the Rocky theme. He did a couple different themes. So, yeah, it was entertaining, but, whatever.
And then we had what was at that point the best match of the night, Nikki Bella versus Charlotte. These two actually had a pretty good match. Some heat was lacking in certain parts, but Nikki Bella, I gotta say, this might have been the best match of her career. She did a tremendous job working on the leg of Charlotte. Charlotte, for all her faults, and I do think that she is greener than some of the other divas and might be a little overrated. But man, she sold this leg so well. Lots of emotion in this match, a few good near falls, and in the end, Charlotte made her comeback. There was chaos at ringside. Nikki Bella could not be DQ'd or else she would have lost her title, as per Stephanie McMahon on Monday when they did that stupid Dusty finish. And Charlotte ended up walking in the figure 8, tapped out. And oh yeah, Charlotte not only won the WWE Divas Championship, but she got shorts that actually covered her whole derriere. Which was good. So I didn't get as distracted when watching her matches. And I was actually able to enjoy this match. And she celebrated. Ric Flair came in the ring. They cried. Some fans were like, why are they crying? Well, a few reasons. One, this is a big deal to Charlotte. Two, this is a big deal to Ric Flair seeing his daughter accomplish her dreams. And number three, this was technically supposed to be Ric Flair's late son Reed's dream. To eventually be in the WWE and win some type of championship, to have a great career. And unfortunately, 2.5 years ago, Reed Flair died of a drug overdose. I think it was only 24, 25 years old, around my age, and just that's something you never get over. As a parent, I'm sure losing your kid and losing a sibling. I mean, I would never, ever wish that on anybody. It's just so devastating. So when Charlotte and Rick were crying, that wasn't just part of the show. I mean, that was real emotion right there. And that, for me, made it feel special. Made it feel special to see these two embracing. I don't know if Charlotte meant to ignore Paige, if that was part of the storyline, but it seemed like, in a way, like she was hugging Becky, she was hugging Rick, and Charlotte was, Paige was just kind of standing there, which I'm assuming that was deliberate to build up a heel turn. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, well, first of all, Charlotte did acknowledge her brother after she won. She did look up, point up to the sky. I don't know if you did catch that.
Yeah, I saw that.
So she did. It started for me at the beginning of the match when they all came down to the ring together. Paige was like the first one to break off the little whatever they do with their pinkies and all that. And I agree. It seemed like Paige just didn't want to be part of the celebration too much. Yeah, not sure exactly what, if that was just planned or if that's what it was. Thank God Paige did not turn tonight.
Yeah, it would have
That's
been a
one thing I
bad
can say.
night.
But there was an odd. I don't know if you noticed this. The odd things I noticed in matches were like, you had Team Bella on one side, and then like 5 feet away from them was Becky and Paige, and there was a moment in the match where they got into the fight, and then it just seemed like they got into it on the outside of the ring, and then all of a sudden like they're there just standing next to each other again.
Yeah.
Just very odd type of things. But to me, maybe I missed something with the match. I didn't think it was as great as you thought, Fred.
I think it was great. I thought it was very good given who was involved because I think Charlotte is still kind of green, and while I think Nikki Bella has improved dramatically in her career, I don't see her at the level of some of the other divas. I mean, definitely not at the level of a Natalya or Sasha or a Becky. But I thought given who was involved, it was pretty good. Do I wish it was Becky and Sasha? Absolutely. But given who was involved, I thought it was pretty good. My one main complaint, about this match is that I would have liked everybody barred from ringside. I think it would have meant more if Charlotte was able to. I mean, she technically won on her own anyway and won clean, but it would have meant more if she had just won.
Just straight up.
Yeah, straight up. But maybe I could see maybe somebody in the back, some people in the back saying, you know what, do we trust these two in a long match, without like some type of distraction or anything like that? So, hey, it worked. They celebrated backstage. Really awkward promo though backstage. It was Ric Flair and them reciting his line limousine ride and jet flying
and I'm not sure if they were supposed to not know it, but they didn't know it. So
yeah,
kind of strange.
And Charlotte was like, "I'm exhausted," and they kind of walked away, and Ric Flair hugged her and kissed her again and cried. And
I don't know if you saw there was a picture going around on Twitter. I guess somebody had the World Heavyweight title and Flair was holding it, and then Charlotte was holding the Divas title. So cool. Yeah, it's a cool moment. Look, Rick's been emotional lately. I think regardless of before Reed passing even, it's just the way he's been lately. So, hey, good for him. We don't know what that's like, on both ends. I don't think anybody here does. So, hey, let the guy, he had his moment with his daughter and good for her and congratulations.
Yeah, just let them have their moment. And people are going, oh, Charlotte? Oh, come on. What about Sasha? Look, Sasha's eventually going to get the title. Becky's eventually going to get the title. Give it time. They gave it to Charlotte here. Let her run with it for a bit. The Divas division will be all right. I would like them to heed Lance Storm's suggestion, which is just destroying this crappy butterfly thing and bringing a real women's title into the picture.
Yeah.
You think they'll do it?
No. If on the pay-per-view when they were talking about, women who have held the title and talking about how Moolah's, 24-year reign will never be, duplicated, JBL quickly mentioned that was a different title, so it doesn't count. Right. And I think that's just where they are now. It's Divas and that's it, I mean, it's a kind of crappy belt, but to be honest, it's kind of better than that little tiny women's belt, which I know a lot of people probably liked, but you know what? In reality, it's. I mean, do belts even matter anymore? Let's be honest.
Well, the
way WWE uses them doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I mean, this one seemed to matter. It was a nice, significant win, but it all depends what they do. No, it's okay, but it all depends what they do here on out. We had Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose with their mystery partner against the Wyatts. I seem to not like this match as much as other people.
I wasn't
the mystery partner was Chris Jericho. And I didn't mind Jericho.
He had a feud with Bray last year. On the house shows, he's been working with Luke Harper, so it kind of made sense. Pointless.
I guess they're continuing this feud, and I guess the deal is that they got to find another partner now. I just don't want this feud to continue, and it does because Chris Jericho had a nice showing. They made Braun Strowman look really good. Give them their props. I was kind of hoping it was Daniel Bryan or Finn Balor, and it was obviously neither. And the Braun Strowman looked a little wacky at the end there. He was trying to do something at Jericho, and he flipped him over and hit him with what I don't even know what the hell he hit him with. It was a weird thing. It looked like he was going for like the shock treatment or.
Oh, it was like that pancake type body slam suplex type
Yeah,
weird thing.
it was like he was holding him for like I guess what's the move? Albert used to do it. He used to call it the train wreck, where you hold a guy kind of like a power bomb. It's kind of like, yeah. You like get on your back, and then he just like flipped him over and slammed him on his stomach, and then he picked him up and did that whole standing arm choke thing that didn't look that great.
Here, I'll age myself again. It reminds me of the Yeti from WCW.
Yes. Yeah, and he's just wrangling Jericho, and Jericho had to pass out, and that was that. And then
before that, not to cut you off, Jericho made the hot tag when it looked like Roman Reigns had everything controlled. Not even the hot tag. The blind tag, surprise tag, whatever you want to call it.
Roman had Strowman down. He had Strowman down with the spear, and then he wanted to go for another one, and Jericho tagged in, hit the lion salt. Strowman kicked out at 1, which is I love that spot where a giant kicks out, and then the guy just goes flying. And you kick out with authority. And then, Strowman kicked ass, and that was that. And at the end, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Jericho are going.
I thought we were going to see the heel turn right there of Reigns and Ambrose. I really did.
Yeah, I did too. And then Jericho's like, I done effed up, and he kind of just bumped Dean on the way out and walked out, and it seemed to be kind of a heel turn.
It's the same thing Jericho does every time, though, when you think about it. He comes back as a face because the crowd reaction, and then goes heel, and that's the end of it. I mean, it's the same thing he does over and over again when he comes back now. So
it is.
I mean, look, an Ambrose Jericho feud would be pretty cool. I think. I think it would have been cool going into like WrestleMania, maybe.
I'd like to see him as a face, though. It'd be cool to see him versus. And you know what? Maybe he'll stay a face. Maybe it'll be him versus Kevin Owens.
Yeah, okay,
Those
maybe.
I mean, matches.
I didn't know Jericho was even coming back to TV. I thought he was going to do house shows. So maybe this is just a one-off type of thing as well. We don't know.
Perhaps. I'll say this: I love Chris Jericho. He's one of my all-time favorites. But at this age, I think he's in dire need of pants. I don't know about you. I just think he could use some pants at this stage of his career.
He did the opposite because most guys go from tights to pants. He went from pants to tights. So.
Yeah. I mean, it worked in 2008. In 2015, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I'm just saying they don't hug. Maybe some shorts. They don't hug his waist very well.
Take Sting's advice. Get a little higher cut top. You know what I'm saying? That's the nice way to put it, right?
Exactly. We had Seth Rollins versus John Cena for the U.S. title. This is a great match. I wouldn't say it was at the level of their SummerSlam match, but a very, very awesome match. Tons of heat. John Cena got the clean pin with the AA. You could tell they were saving just a little bit because Seth Rollins still, of course, had to wrestle one more time, maybe 2 more times. And, John Cena got the win. And afterwards, Seth Rollins tried to leave. And John Cena said, oh, no, like Dikembe Mutombo. And he gave Seth an AA on the floor, which looked like it sucked. And, I forgot to mention, too.
Bad.
Real quick, in the previous match, the Shield versus Wyatt's, another fan run-in.
Yes.
Some douchebag in Shield gear. He looked like Bull Buchanan in present day if he was a meth addict. Just came in and stood alongside Roman and Dean, and security tackled him, and Roman and Dean just kind of looked and shrugged. If that were me, normally I wouldn't say, okay, beat up the fan. Or I think it's case by case basis. This has happened like 3 times in the last month. So if I were
the ironic thing is it's happened to Dean now twice.
Yeah, and Roman got hit with the briefcase.
That's what happened. Yeah, my buddy was talking to me, and I couldn't remember what happened. You're right. And then Seth, kind of all the Shield members, something's happened to. Very weird.
If I'm Vince McMahon, I'm just telling these guys, all right, you have permission now to beat the crap out of anybody that goes into the ring. That is, how does that happen? Before I saw some comments from a former guest of TSC News and a friend, Jimmy Noonan, who used to be the head of security for WWE, and he said that somebody should get their ass fired. And I thought that was a little harsh. I said, you know what? It's twice, but how many times have we really seen that happen? 3 times, that's a trend. All right? And the fact that the guy got all the way in the ring, Come on.
The problem is, like you said, he was dressed in gear. Probably just snuck right in. What's the old saying? If you act like you belong, you're gonna get through.
But
and that's, I mean, I know. No, I agree with you,
man.
No, I agree with you.
Like,
but
look, I hope to God this doesn't happen for a long time, and I hope in this case it never happens. But that guy could have had a knife. I mean, they search people, but you never know. That guy could have a shank. He could have.
Regardless,
Well, sorry,
even if he didn't have anything, these guys are trained athletes. All it takes is one shot to one wrong area. I mean.
Yeah, and by the way, my bad. I just muted myself before by accident. But yeah, I mean, that guy could have had a shank. He could have had a knife. He could have had something.
Could have been anything.
Ugh.
But I mean, look, Bray played it off pretty good when he was sitting on the ropes. He just said, "Oh, that's your guy," and kind of laughed it off.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely an issue. I mean, what can you do though at this point? If you're WWE, I mean,
beef up your security and keep your eyes on like outside of the ring, man.
I mean, I mean, it's a shame, but yeah, I mean, they're gonna have to do something.
Yeah. I'll tell you this. There's a lot of stuff in the news about cops and using excessive force, and it varies obviously. But I will tell you this: if there's ever an occasion where security guards, cops, wrestlers, athletes should beat the hell out of someone, it is at sporting events where people are drunk and stupid and put other people in danger. Whether you're a drunk 49ers fan beating somebody up in a parking lot, whether you're a fake Shield member, or whether you're a dude throwing a briefcase at Roman Reigns. Okay? That, to me, should be like universal law to beat the crap out of somebody.
That's when you can literally have the Big Show come out and just right hook somebody.
Or tase that person. Stick a taser up their ass. Seriously. That's ridiculous. But anyway, Rollins versus Cena was very good. John Cena won. Hopefully this means we get the U.S. title challenge again, which is really fun. I know Louis going to say, "Oh, Fred, well, that means Cena's going to beat all the young talent." As opposed to the young talent beating each other, I'd rather see them in good matches.
At least they're in Showcase, yeah.
Exactly. And speaking of Showcase, we had the Showcase match of the night. Not as good as Cena versus Rollins in terms of work rate, but Sting looked in tremendous shape, worked his freaking ass off in this match. Took some crazy bumps. I mean, for 56-year-old standards, dude.
For like 46-year-old standards,
dude got pushed off one announce table, fell through another one. That was a wicked bump.
Yeah.
And then I could not believe they actually had them take this. He took the powerbomb on the turnbuckles in the corner, and I don't know about you. But it seemed like Sting legitimately had the wind knocked out of him.
Because, he did.
Yeah, I think it was real. Actually, I'm almost positive it was real. So
yeah, because he dropped after ducking. Yeah,
Rollins goes for a clothesline. Sting ducked and just dropped. And the doctors went to check on Sting. And to Rollins' credit, he played it cool. He totally played it cool. Said, "Ha! Come on now." Cody just acted like arrogant. It was within the context of his character. I felt really bad for Sting, and I just thought, why would they have him take this bump? Why? It's unnecessary.
Well, what about the bump when he went up, hit the splash on Seth on the outside even? Just a one-on-one, I mean, that's a pretty big bump, too.
That is, but even if it's, whether it's Sting, whether it's Cena, whether it's Dean Ambrose, they need to stop doing that turnbuckle powerbomb deal. They really do. I think they should save that just for occasional big matches. That hurts guys. That can hurt your back. I mean, Dean Ambrose took like 1 million of them back at Money in the Bank. If you remember, he took them on the corner and he took them on the outside.
Well, I mean, you're right, but there is a way to protect yourself from that, not to get into it too much, and I know your neck can snap back and this and that, things can happen, but let's, and first of all, OMG tickle me, Sting didn't look horrible. He looked pretty damn good for 56 years. Let's be honest there.
I don't want to hear that. Sting looked great.
But I'm 36 and I couldn't take, and I'm not in any kind of shape like Sting, but I mean, a 56-year-old guy taking these moves, I don't want to, keep saying his age, but the fact is, he could have gotten the win knocked out of him, and it's just one of those freak things.
And they're very lucky that he didn't get seriously injured to the point where he just couldn't continue the match.
He did walk off at the end of the match, which we'll get to. He did. You could see him walking out.
That is good. I didn't see him walking out. So yeah, doctors checked on him. Seth decided to go for the pedigree after they decided he could go. Sting could go, and then Sting reversed it, Scorpion Deathlock, and Seth got the ropes. Afterwards, Seth hit an enziguri or some type of kick to the face. Went for the pedigree again. Sting went for a Scorpion Deathlock again. And Seth rolled him up for the clean pin. And I thought this was a nice finish. I personally would have loved to have seen Sting win.
Yes.
It would have been a nice moment. You could have extended the program. Here, at this point, I was fine with this finish. Right? I was willing to live with this finish. I wanted Sting to win. But I was willing to live with it, right?
No, I'm with you.
And then the dynamite went off. Sheamus.
No. Yeah, Sheamus came out.
Yeah,
first.
I know. This is the start of it.
Sheamus
came out and bro kicked Seth.
Nicely bro kicked Seth.
Yeah, it was good. Goes to cash in. I'm thinking, oh my God. There is no way that they're going to have Sheamus win the title when they've had, the last 2 weeks, their lowest ratings in 18 years. There's no way. And of course, thankfully, there was no way because Kane came out.
Not corporate Kane.
The monster Kane, the demon Kane. The demon Kane. Oh God, we gotta say the devil.
At least he didn't have his welding mask on.
Yeah,
so.
That's true.
Yeah.
Actually, the welding mask is pretty cool. I
for like the first week.
Yeah.
And then
anyway. He chokeslammed Seth, and then Sheamus told him, "Do it again."
That was actually kind of funny.
And then he chokeslammed Sheamus, and then he did the thing with the pyro, and we went. And as we were going off the air, or WWE was going off the air, I thought to myself, "Wait a second. This makes sense." Kane was taken out by Lesnar, thanks to Seth. Seth was unappreciative. Now Seth and Kane are going to wrestle. Makes sense, right?
Absolutely.
But then I remembered one important detail about this feud.
That it's Kane?
Well, besides that.
Okay.
That it's for the title.
It doesn't have to be.
It is
they haven't made that official yet.
The title. The WWE World Heavyweight Champion is going to wrestle, presumably going to wrestle Kane at Hell in a Cell for the world title. Which in that case, why not have Kane come back? I hate swerves, but you know what you could have done? You could have done a swerve. You know what? You know what would have been more clever than this, Scott? Here's what would have been more clever. Sting goes for the deathlock. Sheamus cashes in to make it a triple threat. And when Sheamus is on the verge of winning, Kane comes out and chokeslams Sheamus, making you think, oh my God, Kane's going to help Seth retain. But then you have Kane chokeslam Seth. And then you could have had Sting pin Sheamus to protect Seth, even though it's not like they've done a great job of protecting him anyway these last 6 months. Sting could have won. And boom, Sting would be your WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Hell, you could even give him the month off. Make him special, kind of like what you did with Lesnar last year. Because your main event of Hell in a Cell doesn't even need a title because it's Lesnar versus Undertaker. And you could do Seth Rollins versus Kane. And then Survivor Series, you have a big return match with Seth Rollins versus Sting. And then you could do some kind of wacky Survivor Series elimination deal, underneath that.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking Sting wins and Sheamus just cashes right in. Oop, that's the second time my microphone has dropped tonight because I'm so sad that Sting lost, actually.
People are saying, well, Fred, a 56-year-old man's going to win the title. It could have been short term. It could have been fun.
It's not just a 50. This is Sting, all right?
This
isn't
Sting.
like
this
this
is a
isn't,
legend. This is a
yeah,
guy who
I
looks
mean,
freaking great. Okay, you're really going to blame him for that rating on Monday? It's not his fault they didn't promote his freaking appearance ahead of time, which is insane to begin with. So I thought to myself, oh my God, they're going to have Sheamus win the title, and it's going to be terrible for ratings. They don't do that. Instead, they do Seth versus Kane. And even though Brock versus Taker is the main program, Brock and Taker aren't going to be on Raw for 4 straight weeks. I mean, maybe they are, but I doubt it.
You would assume not, yeah.
And another thing, the show is 3 hours long. The feud with Kane and Seth Rollins involves the title and the authority, which means still a significant chunk of Monday Night Raw the next 4 weeks is going to be dedicated to Seth Rollins, to Kane, to the authority, and to a somewhat lesser extent, Sheamus.
I was just going to say that, yeah. Is it? Well, first of all, Fred, let me take you back about 15, 16 months. Right after WrestleMania 30. The next 4 weeks leading into that following pay-per-view, would you like to tell everyone what the WWE title match was? Well, let me refresh your memory. Daniel Bryan went up against this young, hungry... It was Kane. All right? So Kane being in another title match doesn't even matter at this point. And I tried to sell Kane the best I could, and I just couldn't do it. You know, the problem is you're going to get on Raw tomorrow night, Sheamus versus Kane. That's going to be probably a main event match. Seth Rollins could do whatever. And you could actually have a triple threat match going into Hell in a Cell because Sheamus doesn't need to cash in if you remember the Rumble.
Hang on. So Seth Rollins won't be in the ring with one guy people don't care about. He'll be in the ring with 2 guys people don't care about.
Why not?
Wow.
No, you know what? He could be in the ring with John Cena, Sting, Bruno Sammartino. It's not going to matter at this pay-per-view. That's because it's an irrelevant thing. All that is filler. That's all it is because of the main event. 4
weeks of filler on TV? It's come on. Really?
Well, maybe WWE will be smart and actually do something with Kevin Owens, do something with, we have John Cena, so, we have that. Do something with, there's really nobody else, is there? God, that's, yeah.
Who are they going to give the title? Look, could they put Seth in a title match on Monday? I guess they could do that. And
yeah, I don't know. I mean, we assume Sting's not going to be back around anytime soon, just because. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be bad, people. It really
Kane
is.
Versus Seth Rollins for the world title, and maybe one really good segment with Paul Heyman and Brock, possibly featuring Taker that we're gonna say was amazing, and then we're gonna forget about it because we're gonna see 2.5 hours of crap.
No.
You know what?
No. You're gonna get like 15 minutes of the Wyatts and Reigns and Amber. So
and
keep that.
We might
because we haven't gotten enough of that.
We might get a good John Cena match. I'll say that. We'll at least get a good John Cena match.
Maybe we'll get. Nah, I was gonna say maybe we'll get Finn Balor versus John Cena, but I don't see that happening.
Oh, I wish. Skydoll Sky says, I vote Fred Ricciani to be head of WWE Creative. I don't want that job because I value my blood pressure. And
I would take the job if, my say was final, and that was about it.
Yeah. Do something with Cesaro? Yeah, you could do something with Cesaro, but I don't think they're going to
do it. Oh, God, we could get more Cesaro-John Cena matches, which, hey, is all well and fine, but let's be honest. We've seen that before.
Yeah, and we know how that's going to end. Oh, my God, Tickle Me says pay-per-views will suck till the Rumble. I mean, this pay-per-view wasn't bad. I think we'll get I think the pay-per-views will be good leading up to the Rumble.
It just all depends on how they use the people they have. I mean, look, thank God Taker is able to come back 2 months after his last match. I mean, when's the last time that happened?
Yeah.
So
I don't know if that's smart for him though.
No, well, I mean, obviously he's able to do it. It's yeah. I think the best thing we have to look forward to between now and October 25th is what is it, October 16th, I believe it is, the Monday Night Raw with the Stone Cold podcast with Brock Lesnar.
Oh
That ought
yeah,
to be good.
that'll be very
That's
good.
going to be real good.
That'll be very good. My friend Nick asks me, "Am I going to go to Beast in the East with him?" Or not Beast in the East. I'm sorry, the follow up to Beast in the East. I guess Beast in MSG, the network special, October 3rd. I want to go.
You think Big Show has a chance? Don't answer that.
No, I'll see if I can get credentialed. If I have to get tickets, which I normally don't mind. I just bought an Xbox and a lot of games, and I had to pay a lot of bills, and I'm kind of not. I went to MSG earlier this year, and it was a good time. Ironically enough, it was Hulk Hogan Appreciation Night. Yeah, that'll be interesting. Who knew that would be the last time I'd see Hulk Hogan in a WWE ring?
Who?
Yeah. Who must not be named? Appreciation
Who?
Night. Yeah, they hung a black banner with a shadow on it.
Is that what they did now?
Yeah, the NWO just hugged a shadow, and Ric Flair was there. Just the
yeah.
shadow. It was weird.
I got the joke now. I'm a little slow.
Yeah, it was very weird. Yeah. But I might go. I mean, I might go. I've spent a lot of money lately, and I've been to a lot of wrestling shows lately, and I did just buy an Xbox. And I'm currently indulging in Pro Evolution Soccer, which is freaking awesome. But here's the thing, and just a quick sidebar here. I will be continuing to do sports game reviews, and I believe a majority of them are going to stay on the TSA News. But on our new channel, youtube.com/overclocktv, if you guys could please subscribe to that. Anything that's not quote-unquote sports or wrestling related, even in video games, will probably go up there. So please, if you could subscribe to that, youtube.com/overclocktv. But I captured a bunch of footage, right? And I'm playing as like Rooney and Manchester United and all this other stuff. And I probably should have taken a look at Konami's guidelines, the publisher of the game, and they have literally a laundry list of guidelines that says you cannot feature Rooney in this way unless he's with an ensemble. You can't feature the Manchester United logo. You can't feature this. You can't feature that. You can't play in UEFA. You can't do. And I'm like, half the footage I captured is from that. So I can't. So essentially, I gotta just show like random shots of other stuff that don't involve Manchester United and the top teams. I mean, I guess I could show Team Brazil. You know what I mean, with Neymar and everything, but it was just a lot. You know that memo that leaked that the announcers had like 5 years ago, where they had to like all this jargon for WWE. This is essentially this thing from Konami. And you wonder why Konami's in the position it's in, and God bless them. I feel bad for the people there that are losing their jobs and the fact that they're ceasing production on AAA titles. But my God, I mean, this was just a laundry list. So luckily, I made my own custom team on like a custom field, and I have a lot of footage of that, and I have a lot of footage of me training in the game. So I guess I'll just do that. So my review of Pro Evolution Soccer 2016 might be slightly delayed, but it is coming for any of you soccer nuts. And I have to say, it is a pretty kick-ass game, although I would imagine the majority of your friends are probably going to play FIFA. So if you want to play online with your friends, I guess I'd recommend FIFA. But Pro Evolution Soccer is a beautiful game, minus Konami's crazy guidelines when it comes to reviewing, which are WWE-esque.
Hey, changing subjects now, back to this pay-per-view, Fred.
Mm-hmm.
Guy Haven actually had a little comment which made me think, is it possible that we're getting Taker versus Lesnar in Hell in a Cell because at WrestleMania we finally get to see Taker Sting? If we do, is it possible Sting loses like basically his three pay-per-view matches in WWE? I mean, is that possible?
I think it is possible, unfortunately. I don't think...
I mean, he did get a win on Raw, so, okay, he does have a win, but...
I don't think it'll matter at that point. I mean, with the bloom... I'm not going to say it blooms off the rose. They could have given Sting the win over Triple H at WrestleMania 31. That booking was so dumb. It is what it is. I think ultimately... But by the time we get to WrestleMania, I think fans will forget about that. And since this is technically a retirement match for both guys, It's more of just like a Legends match. It doesn't matter who won, who lost. And at that point, it's just about pride. So I hope we do get that match. Apollo.
At this point, I don't want to see Sting lose anymore.
Yeah. Jason Orlando says Apollo Crews is the WWE version of Lashley. No, he is significantly better than Lashley, and the only thing he has that's similar to Lashley, he essentially looks like Bobby Lashley's man-child. That's all.
Yeah, he's got the body and the bald head,
yeah.
I guess.
He looks like mini Bobby Lashley, but he is significantly better.
Although he has like the worst possible like stereotype name ever.
Apollo Crews has grown on me.
Yeah, it's grown on me, but it's horrible.
It was just cheap. Yeah, it was just. I think it was
with
all
the stuff about racism and this and that, and you're gonna go with Apollo Crews. Like
I don't know if it's so much like stereotyping as it just you could tell where it came from. It's like when Kenny Doane broke away from the Spirit Squad years ago, and they named him Kenny Dykstra, and they know they got that from Lenny Dykstra. It was just so blatant.
Yeah, but.
I know what you mean, though. I know what you mean.
I mean, we're talking like Apollo Crews, and Terry Crews, and
I agree. It's kind of lame. Okay, Dixie Carter says TNA's having is not having money problems. Is transferring the funds to Nashville. What are you trying? Oh, okay. Talking about payroll problems. Dixie Carter's claiming they're not having payroll problems. Yeah, okay. I guess we should address TNA briefly. In a Sports Illustrated article or in an interview, they mentioned that, they're going to be off Destination America by February 2016, and Dixie and Jeff Jarrett are working together, which they have been working together, and Jeff Jarrett actually sold his shares of TNA, which leads me to believe that there's probably going to be not an imminent sale, but definitely a sale attempt by the Carters. And as far as what happens with TNA, look, man, they're dead in the water. They got some international commitments. I mean, could they stay at Destination America for a lot cheaper or maybe for free, kind of like what Ring of Honor is doing right now? Yeah, but what's the point? Really, what is the point of being in existence if you're not going to make money? What's the point of running a business if you're not going to make money? It's crazy to me that they would stay in business. I don't want to see anybody lose their jobs, but if you're barely paying people anyway, and you got to keep cutting costs, and you're losing TV internationally, it's going to be tough for them to find a TV partner. Billy Corgan apparently has a connection with WGN. I think MLW reported that months back.
That's not going to save them.
I don't think anybody's going to save them. I don't think Spike TV is going to take them back. I mean, the bloom's off the rose. If they were still doing like 1.5 million viewers, they might be valuable to a TV station that's trying to improve their standing, even though their ad rates suck. At 300,000 viewers, if that, not so much. Not so much.
Yeah.
Did you have a chance to catch the ROH pay-per-view?
I did not. I read the results. It looked interesting.
All-Star Extravaganza looked pretty good. For those that are wondering, yes, WWE did rip off the Jay Lethal Double Champion storyline. The difference is Jay Lethal ended up wrestling, I think, two times. One earlier in the show, one later in the show. And he actually retained both titles. I heard it was a pretty good show.
What's the second time now he's retained both titles?
Is it?
Yeah, I think he did it in Philly.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
So
gonna be interesting. What's next? Is it gonna be Jay Lethal AJ Styles? I think it might be Jay Lethal AJ Styles next.
Yeah, it looks like they could. If you read the TV tapings, I mean, they're kind of all over the place. They don't really have anything set in stone.
That would be cool. To
Adam
see,
Cole could be, up there too.
It'd be really cool to see AJ Styles win the ROH title, Young Bucks win the ROH tag titles, and have them defend it at the Tokyo Dome on January 4th on a New Japan Pro Wrestling card. That would be cool.
That would be cool. Yeah, it'd be something different. And
it would raise the profile of ROH too.
Yeah, I just haven't had time. I DVR ROH. I just haven't had time to watch them. Yeah, I mean, I like the product. It's easy. Like it's kind of like NXT, easy to watch.
It's only
an
hour. Yeah, it's not bad. The only thing is, I'll say this: they're relying lately a lot, I think, on some campy stuff.
Yes.
I think they need to kind of go back to being kind of like a straight wrestling promotion in some ways. I don't mind so much like Dalton Castle and Silas Young, who, for those that don't know who Silas Young is, he's a guy who kind of looks like Jake the Snake Roberts a little bit. Kind of like
With
Jake the
plates
Snake
that are
Roberts.
way too small for him.
Yeah, Jake the Snake and Magnum TA. If they had a son, it'd be Silas
He's a
Young.
throwback. He's a
Yeah,
throwback.
his
He
gimmick
really
is the last real man, and it's
Wait,
such
wait,
a
hold
great
on, hold on.
gimmick.
It's not the William Regal real man. It's the actual last real man.
Yeah, like a burly
I had to clarify
mustache.
that.
Yeah, hairy chest. I mean, this guy is so great. I don't mind
Well,
like the Silas Young stuff, but everything else with the campiness with like Maria and the Kingdom, I like the Kingdom too. But I think they're erring on the side of campiness a little too much, and I think that's the problem with wrestling. For somebody that in the comment section to ask me about, or the tweets to ask me about, what can WWE do better to improve their ratings, and which would, in theory, if they raise their profile, improve the profile of other wrestling promotions and the wrestling business in general. Cut the crap, cut the comedy, cut the stupid distraction finishes, cut all that stuff. A lot of the improvements they can make don't cost a thing. I guess it costs time.
What?
It just costs somebody to take the time to think logically. No even Steven booking. And if you're going to do even Steven booking, which I hate and doesn't get anybody over, at least do it with finishes more often than not that are clean, that aren't, schoolboy, roll up, distraction, he heard the music. It's too much. It's too much.
Well,
you can't have a 3-hour show where 15 minutes of it you take seriously with like Brock or Taker or Sting, and then the rest of it be garbage. Because at that point, guess what? I'm going to do what a lot of people seem to be doing lately, and that's changing the channel.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would add to that is not everybody needs a gimmick. Not every, for me and you don't need to be called the New Jersey Turnpike trio. Yeah, because I'm not smart tonight. We don't need to be called the Turnpike duo. It's just Fred and Scott. You don't need all these cheesy gimmicks for everybody. And I think it was either Lance Storm or Chris Jericho even said, you can't bring 9 new divas in at once and book them all. Not everything needs a gimmick. Just go out there and have matches. What's wrong with that?
I agree.
And that's something with ROH I've noticed. Like, you have the Red Dragon, the Kingdom, the Decade, this one. There's a lot. And I know they're tag teams, so it's a little different, but you don't need all that.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, FYI, football-wise, Seattle just went to 0-2. So,
oh, wow.
Eagles fans, there is hope.
Okay. The one thing I don't like, too, with the... I think I just lost my train of thought. What were you saying about the Kingdom? Point?
I was just saying, not every duo, every trio needs a gimmick. Just
and you know what? I noticed it. And here's the thing, too, that's a big misconception, and I can't believe that this idiot for Grantland.com, I'm calling him an idiot. I don't really give a crap if he has a podcast or whatever, because he wrote, and it was widely criticized already by Jonathan Snowden and a few other people that are Twitter buddies of mine, but this guy wrote that wrestling might be in another boom period because they got coverage on ESPN and some mainstream media outlets are covering them. Well, they've done their lowest ratings of the last 18 years this year on multiple occasions. And one of the reasons ESPN covered WWE, which was a great coup for WWE, was because ESPN has been losing subscribers and they needed content. Did the SummerSlam Raw or post SummerSlam Raw draw a huge rating? Not really. Have there been great ratings on Raw and SmackDown following SummerSlam, which was a pre-op pay-per-view? Not really. No. Is TNA doing great right now? Not really, although that's a lot of it is mostly their doing. But is ROH, while they're doing well at their level, are they booming per se? No. And another thing too. Well, a lot of guys are making a living on the indies. Define making a living, and don't count AJ Styles and people that are in New Japan, or even ROH for that matter, or maybe like not ROH full time. Okay, making an entry level salary, or what would constitute an entry level salary in most industries, per se, let's just say 35, 40,000 around that. To me, that's not making a living in wrestling. That's getting by, especially when you factor in the lack of insurance and you factor in the costs and all this other stuff. I mean,
look, the great part about that is, you don't have to put in 40 hours, 45 hours. The bad news is every time you go out there for 15 minutes, you could die. You could be paralyzed. So, like you said, Fred, it's not a great thing.
Yeah, it's not 1998 where people are making 6 figures, 7 figures. Maybe at the very least, it's not like 98 where people are at the very least making high 5 figures. It's not. There are guys like the Young Bucks There are guys like Chris
There's a
Hero
few.
who are doing well, yeah, but those guys have also been around for a really long time. You mean there's very few guys, okay, I don't care what they say, that they're making a real living compared to, say, like 98. And there's no shame in having a real job and whatever. I know guys that are wrestlers that are actually tearing it up and that have a real job, and that's great. But I don't want to hear people say we're in a boom period. All right? Match quality-wise, we've had some great matches in recent years. Okay? But outside of New Japan, CMLL with like the mask versus mask stuff once a year, occasionally AAA. I guess bottom line, let's just focus on North America, right? In North American pro wrestling, we've had, particularly WWE, especially WWE, we've had a lot of really good and great matches. But guess what? A lot of them don't mean anything.
No.
Okay? They don't have that emotion. Why? Because, Kevin Owens beat John Cena. What an amazing accomplishment. What an amazing monumentous moment, right? Let's do it 2 weeks later. Let's do it.
And then 2 weeks after that.
Yeah. Okay? Wow, Cesaro and John Cena had a classic match on Raw. Let's do it a week later. Let's do it another week later. And
Fred, I've been saying that now for the last year.
We've had great matches, but what's the point of having a great match if it doesn't mean anything? It's like a fight, all right? You could in UFC, there's a guy named Joe Lozon who has some of the best fights you'll ever see. And he's pretty popular, and he gets over to a certain level because he has great fights and he never quits. That's one guy. You want a few Joe Lozons in the UFC for sure. And in theory, maybe UFC would want a lot of Joe Lozons, all right? But you need Conor McGregor's. You need Ronda Rousey's. Okay? You need people like Anderson Silva, GSP, BJ Penn in his prime. You need people, hell, even Michael Bisping, who's, I think, the best example of an upper mid-carder who can draw money in any, combat sports industry. All right? Like, you need people that fans emotionally invest in. Storylines that they care about. Feuds that they care about. Cain Velasquez, Fabricio Verdum, that was a great fight. I loved Fabricio Verdum's performance. Did okay. Did like around 300,000 buys, maybe 280,000 buys. Not great. Great fight. Two high-level, highly skilled heavyweights, maybe the two greatest heavyweights in the history of mixed martial arts. But fans didn't care. Fans didn't, because Kane didn't get you excited for his match. It was just there. It was a great fight. But why should I care? Sell me on it. Now Jose Aldo and Conor McGregor.
My God.
Oh my God. Now that's something I want to see. Why? Because most likely it's only going to happen once. And there's real, honest-to-God beef. And they drew you in. You want to see somebody get their ass kicked. You want to see the champion of the last 10 years be dethroned. Or you want to see this badass douche get his ass whooped. Either way, you're going to get your money's worth unless something wacky happens, like a low blow and somebody can't continue, or somebody slips on a pipe or whatever.
Well, hopefully Kane doesn't interfere. So
Yeah. But in WWE, why should you care about a matchup the first time ever when you know it's going to happen again? Why should you care about a match? How can you emotionally invest in a match when they don't even promote it a week ahead of time, outside of the rare occasion with the season premiere? And even then, the only match they promoted ahead of time was a couple times, was a Primetime Players and New Day, which was kind of a joke, and Nikki versus Charlotte, which had a dusty finish.
And you're going to see that match again tomorrow night, and you will see the tag title match tomorrow night. I guarantee it.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean,
nothing means anything anymore. They're great matches, but that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you can't get emotionally invested in it. And you don't need. And look, not every match needs to tell a story. All right, you can have fun matches like at PWG or at ROH or on the other card of WWE shows, or even like in the old school WCW shows with the cruiserweights, and have some fun, mindless self-indulgence and just enjoy it. Mm-hmm. But a majority of the matches you have, a majority of the angles you have on your television, your segments, fans should care about them. Fans need a reason to care about them. You can't just throw it out there. We're just gonna have Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton, or Randy Orton versus Cesaro, or I don't know, Sting versus Big Show, out of the blue.
Oh yeah.
At least give it a week build, 2 weeks build. And here's the thing: they used to do this all the time, and for whatever reason, a few years ago, they just got out of the habit of doing that. And this, what you see, the even Steven booking, they're not promoting things ahead of time. Announcing things on Twitter as opposed to on TV in front of 3 million viewers. For whatever reason, this has just become the norm, and I don't know why.
Well, you just answered your own question, because they're going to social media. Facebook, Twitter, even the WWE.com, the app. That's where they're making all these announcements, and not everybody has this stuff. And they just assume, they're so arrogant that they assume that people are just going to run right through your TV, at 7 o'clock at night. Last week, when did that come out about Sting? At 6 o'clock at night that he's going to wrestle? I mean, people, make plans. A week ahead of time, people might not make plans. So it's unfortunate. This is just the way it is nowadays. But, the reality is WWE has no competition, and 26 different writers and going in 26 different directions, and that's the issue.
But the bad thing is that WWE, and who knows where the cable industry is going to be in a few years, but WWE, if they keep sagging in ratings, when it's time to renegotiate with USA, maybe USA will say no thanks. Or maybe they'll say, yeah, we'll take you, but for less money. Now,
Yep.
They could also take them for the same money or more money, because who knows at that point what programming is still going to draw consistent ratings like Raw does, even if the ad rates are low. Depending on the landscape with streaming and all that jazz. And I guess in a way, WWE does look kind of smart for getting into the streaming business, so maybe a little early, but at least setting a foundation. I still disagree of them throwing all their pay-per-views on there, but what's done, it's done. At least they're kind of getting that foothold, in the over-the-top industry. But I don't know. And the thing is this: if WWE continues to do low ratings or lower ratings compared to what they were doing just a couple years ago, if WWE continues to lose interest, even if they are making money themselves by nature of their business model and so many revenue streams, that's not good for the rest of the wrestling industry, no matter what anybody says. That's not good for Global Force Wrestling trying to get a TV deal. That's not good for TNA trying to get a TV deal. That's not good for a company that might rise out of the ashes of TNA to get a TV deal. That's not good for wrestling in general, at the very least in North America. So we'll see what happens. In the meantime, Scott, here's what we have to look forward to.
Yeah.
Kane versus Seth Rollins.
Yippee.
For the WWE World Championship. And before I go, let me really quickly just send some shout-outs to the people that were nice enough to tune in live. Skydall Sky, Stoney Jackson, Guy Haven, who may or may not be a haven to guys, which if that person is, then ladies, you want to hit him up.
Dope.
Bro Levers, Ole Sammy Ole,
Ole.
Dope, Telvin Kipapa, HB Goo 1975, David Schneider, Jeremy Bowers. I'm probably forgetting some people, but Roz Gibby. Let's see right here. Hey Dude, who's our resident Cena hater. Zip Away, you haven't heard from in a while.
We forgot Manpreet.
Manpreet, the resident Randy Orton fan. Surprised Randy Orton didn't come back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oversaturation, that's the key. So let's keep him off for a while. It's oversaturation with this stuff.
Yeah, but last time they kept him off TV for a while, they made him just another guy in a matter of 5 minutes.
Oh, real quick though, what's going to happen when SmackDown moves to the USA Network? I mean, it's the same crap, and that's why SmackDown's
I think they're going to make it high priority by that point. But is the damage?
Yeah, but that
done?
was the rumor when SmackDown went back to Thursday, and that lasted a week and a half.
Well, they did have it high priority when
matches over and over.
I don't know.
I mean, you don't need Seth Rollins on Raw and SmackDown. You don't need it. You don't need Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose on Raw and SmackDown.
They need to have some. They need to have some squash matches on SmackDown, and they need to have some. And they need to have some NXT integration as well. I think that'd be very smart.
Have some squash matches on Raw.
I agree, but you know what? I think 1 hour, quote unquote, sponsored by NXT on SmackDown would do wonders.
Oof.
That'd be it'd be cool. You get like a 15 minutes out of like a decent Tower Breeze match, and some other guys, some personality pieces. I mean, they could do that on Raw too, obviously. Oh man,
Raw needs to go back to 2 hours. Let's be honest.
It does, but will it? That's up for you, USA, to decide.
I think it's possible.
But WWE's making a lot of money off of that third hour. All depends on. It's gonna ultimately it's gonna be USA's call, I think, and I think they're gonna keep it 3 hours because it's still that first hour still does higher ratings than anything else USA puts on there. But ad revenue wise, I don't know. Steven Shaw, shout out to him. He asked me about Balor and Owens. I can see that happening. Not anytime soon, though. Shout out to Don Jizzle. Shout out to Cairo Amador, who says she should win a streaming award. Thank you very much. That's awfully nice of you to say. Shout out to Mr. Herrera. Shout out to some dude that's a Justin Bieber fan that messaged me. Shout out to Chandler Myers. Terry Allen Jr., David Darneal, our buddy Alan Wu, Paul Cassidy, Strategy UK, MLP, Scotty Harris, Ask Sports Girl 223, Sky is my hubby, whoever that is, Kevin Marshall, my buddy of Spike TV, formerly of WWE, Heel Wrestling, and everybody else that was kind enough to tweet us, Freddie Mitchell Jr., who's in our fantasy league, and Sebastian, our buddy from Germany, which is awesome, as well as the Cool Kid 93. And that about wraps it up. For anybody else we missed, we apologize. I'll try to get to you guys next time around. Scott, anything else? Or I think we covered it, right?
Yeah, I think we did good.
Yeah, I think we covered everything. So we want to thank you guys so very much for the time. I apologize for some of the lack of updates. My schedule's been a little crazy, as is Scott's, but we do appreciate being able to get here live on a monthly basis and chat with you guys. We'll definitely be doing some more updates. Please, if you have not already, check out some of the following videos we have up. We have an in-depth review of Madden NFL 16, and we have not one, but two in-depth interviews with former Ring of Honor World Champion Roderick Strong, as well as a really awesome interview, one of my personal favorites, an in-depth interview with Frankie Kazarian, who just lost the ROH Tag Titles at All-Star Extravaganza, former TNA World Tag Team Champion. Awesome dude. We talk about his WWE run. We talk about what's going on in TNA. We talk about ROH's hot streak, comic books. Just so much covered in this interview. You guys do not want to miss it. And if you're new here, please feel free to browse around because we have interviews with guys like Booker T, Mick Foley, Diamond Dallas Page, Gail Kim, Rip Rogers. The list goes on and on. Ken Shamrock, Chael Sonnen. Just a ton of interviews you guys don't want to miss. As far as what's coming up this week on TSC News, we'll definitely have some type of recap show on wrestling later in the week. I'll have some type of MMA news show later in the week as well, talking about Fedor returning, as well as the upcoming Daniel Cormier versus Alexander Gustafsson fight, and the ridiculous Nick Diaz 5-year ban, which is insane. I think he should have been punished, but 5 years, that's just excessive. And I will have in-depth game reviews of Armello available on PC and PS4, as well as Pro Evolution Soccer 2016. Once I get through all the ridiculously long guidelines that Konami has on what I can and can't show on screen. And I'm going to give my thoughts as well later this week on NBA Live 16's demo, which is unique at best. I will leave it at that. I will leave it at that. If you guys have been following,
don't create yourself.
I did, and I look like Grumpy Cat with a balding pattern. It's bad, but you'll see that later in the week. So, folks, check it all out. If you enjoyed this recap show, please click the like button. Please share this with your friends. Please not only subscribe on youtube.com/thesportscourier, but also our new gaming channel where we're going to be uploading not only reviews of those games I just mentioned, but Destiny the Taken King, once I get time to actually play it. youtube.com/overclocktv, as well as soundcloud.com/TSC News for all our latest podcasts that you can download and stream on your respective mobile device. Until next time, everybody, woo! As always, enjoy the matches. And we're off.
Alrighty.
I thought it was pretty good.